accomplish? What did you learn from the scrimmage on Saturday?
Progress to be made. Certainly the number one thing is, as you guys know, anytime you're in a practice setting, a lot of times we're scripting plays. The two things that stand out are, number one, the first time from just an operation standpoint, we had the 40-second clock out there. The coach comm is shutting off at 15. All those different things of getting lined up, dealing with penalties. And then certainly from a conditioning standpoint, we're in a controlled environment at practice. There, 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 play drives. So those two things were certainly good things for our players to feel.
Mark mentioned just the execution in certain difficult situations. What's the kind of key to getting through on those third and shorts that maybe wasn't there a year ago?
Well, we certainly addressed some things. A lot for us was just beating ourselves. Things of whether it was cadence related, obviously schematically. I think the biggest thing is just right now is how we can have less concepts and do them more over and over again so guys feel extremely comfortable. Because as you guys know, you take one run play, you take 3 or 4 different fronts, and that one run play can feel a lot. It can feel like a lot of adjustments. And so for us, really honing into that scheme in year 2, trying to simplify it, and again, making it about the fundamentals and execution.
Social media day, you thought you ran Brock too much early in the season last year. They went through that same conversation with Will Levis's second year here. How do you balance that, protecting a guy but not taking away something that's so important to your offense and something that presumably Zach is part of his skill set?
Yeah, I think it's not getting greedy. I think as a coordinator, maybe when it was a situation where you're running him on a 2nd and 10 in the open field versus a gotta-have-it situation on the 8-yard line going into score. And I think we're seeing it across the league. You're seeing it in the NFL where quarterbacks are asked to run it more and protect themselves. But I think it's just something, again, for us, from a self-scout standpoint, got to keep that guy healthy for as long a stretch as we have, and that's certainly on our minds.
It sounds like the offensive line was tested quite a bit on Saturday. Just how did you see them respond?
They did a nice job. They've done a good job all camp. Again, I just think it's a very professional outfit. There's guys that have played, whether at Kentucky or other places, but have started games. Again, I think the conditioning piece would probably be the biggest thing, is just really feeling what it feels like to go 8, 9, 10, 11 play drives with the mixture of tempos and always straining when you're tired. But overall, I think they're in a good spot to make a big jump here in the second week.
It seemed like Patterson had a pretty good day on Saturday. What did you see from him?
He's benefited. He really has. I think in this day and age of college football, when you take a kid like him and you bring in 2 transfers, they got 2 ways to react to it. He's been a guy that's just put his head down, gone to work. I think in a lot of ways, again, with those 2 other backs, we've seen him play a lot of football, and so he's getting a ton of opportunities. And he is one of those guys that has really stood out, who's just been about his business, goes to work every single day, isn't worried about anything other than just improving his craft. And I think he'll be rewarded.
You're near the midway point of fall camp, and it can be a grind. So what's the key to making sure there's not a stalemate, and kind of what do you want to see over this back half?
I think competition, it always starts there, and I think we're certainly trying to create it at a ton of different positions. I think obviously we know the quarterback piece, and that's always going to be discussed. But again, the 2-3 backs we have are competing, and if some guys are competing, they're going to be playing, but how many targets are they going to get? I think the receiver room is probably the most competitive room right now. We're really not sure where those guys are at. There's probably 7 or 8 guys, as you see from watching practice. The consistency's up and down. Some of the better players are less consistent, and so on and so forth. So for us, these guys know what it's on the line. We've really tried to evaluate and address where they're at on August 11th so they can respond to that and be ready to go early in the year.
Okay, folks, thank you very much. You've got players waiting.